Welcome to Caribbean Sports Weekly on Caribbean Community Live. Today is February the 7th, and I'm your host, Jimi Payne. First things first, I would like to say Happy Black History Month to all my brothers and sisters around the globe. And what I'm going to do is to share some information about a very influential person in Black history. Their name is Dr. Carter G. Woodson. So, Dr. Woodson is considered to be a pioneer in the study of African American history. He actually has been given most of the credit for the creation of Black History Month. So this is what he had to say about Black history and how he feels it should be portrayed. He said, "We should emphasize not Negro history, but the Negro in history. What we need is not a history of selected races or nations, but the nations of a world void of national bias, race hate, and religious prejudice." Well said, Dr. Woodson. And happy Black History Month to you and yours. Now, on to the show. Tonight's headlines are West Indies cricket coach re-signed, West Indies versus Australia in an ODI series, West Indies women competing in the World Cricket Cup, new man in charge for Barbados' regional cricket teams, and cricket legend calls for support of young athletes. Super Bowl 47 roundup, and the scores of two friendly international soccer games. Stay tuned to Caribbean Sports Weekly. We'll be back shortly.
Rosita, Lego mistake. Girl, I have to beat pan Lego quick on Carnival Day. This is not the way. If you really want to play, come Ash Wednesday. Look me trouble on this Juve man. Though I begged and beseech, she's still holding on. Squeezing tighter, like them long time pan beater. Though she didn't make no row, she insists she must get it now. Somehow, Rosita, Lego mistake. Girl, I have to be pan Lego.
Welcome back to Caribbean Sports Weekly. Alright, on to our first story. Many wondered if the West Indies cricket team was going to retain Otis Gibson. The answer, my fellow West Indian supporters, is a resounding yes. Gibson, 43, signed a 3-year contract extension this past Tuesday, giving him a second over as the team's coach. The West Indies Cricket Board realized that they needed to put a proposal on the table because Gibson was getting a lot of job offers from teams in England, Australia, and Bangladesh. So they realized that if they wanted to keep the coach that was bringing constant progress to the West Indies cricket team, they needed to sign him up soon, because if they didn't, he was going to be coaching somewhere else. Now, this is a good move for both sides, as the team has shown, like I said, steady progress under Gibson. So he gets to continue the work that he's been steadily putting in long hours doing. And the West Indies Cricket Board gets to benefit from having continuity in coaching, which usually helps team. And we get to enjoy seeing our cricket team continue to get better. This is what Coach Gibson had to say. "I enjoy being involved in West Indies cricket. It's something I'm very excited about, especially considering what we have achieved, especially in the past year. Beating New Zealand at home in all 3 formats and winning the ICC World 2020 tournament in Sri Lanka," said Gibson. "Keep up the good work, Coach Gibson, and we appreciate the way you are improving West Indies cricket. Now, on to the men's last series. Now, I know we just talked about the West Indies cricket team progressing, and this story is not going to show by the final results progress, but let us just remember that they are playing the best team in the world right now in Australia. So, on to the story. Despite half centuries from the Bravo brothers, Darren and Dwayne, the West Indies cricket team still fell 39 runs short of Australia's total. The team had to score 330 runs to win, but unfortunately could not muster that number. Darren Bravo was the top scorer with 81 runs. This loss put an end to the 5-match ODI series, which Australia won decisively 3-0. The Aussie played their usual dominant all-round cricket and won all 3 matches easily. Now, this is something that we've seen before. Last year, the West Indies were beaten by Australia in a test match and also in one-day series. But the West Indies did get a kind of a second last laugh when they beat Australia in the World 2020 tournament and then went on to win the World 2020 tournament that Australia was easily the favorite to win. So, hopefully Coach Gibson and Captain Darren Sammy can regroup the men's West Indies cricket team as they will be playing a new series shortly. Now on to the women's cricket team. The women's West Indies cricket team has advanced to the second round of the Women's Cricket World Cup. The women narrowly advanced to the Super 6 round after losing to England by 6 wickets. They advanced due to a better run rate than host Sri Lanka. Both teams were tied with 2 points. The West Indies cricket team will now face rivals South Africa this Friday in Katak. Good luck, ladies. Stay tuned to more Caribbean Sports Weekly. We'll be back shortly.
John was down and out. All alone he was left to grieve. She had an ex-man in South. She said openly, she said, I really love you, Johnny, but you ain't have no money. So what will my future be, even though you say you love me? We can't love without money. No, we can't make love on hungry belly. Johnny, you will be the only one I am dreaming of. You're my turtle dove, but no money, no love.
Welcome back to Caribbean Sports Weekly. On to our next story. The Barbados regional cricket team has a new coach. Hendy Springer will get another crack at the job. Springer is replacing Emerson Trotsman and Fazbak Drakes. Springer wants to restore the heritage of great cricket to the island of Barbados and says he'll be focusing on getting his squads ready for the regional 4-day and Super 50 tournaments. Springer is excited for the season because he believes there are many youngsters that have a lot of potential on his team, and he is anxious for them to take full advantage of their opportunities this season and take their game to the higher level. Now, as you know, we Bajans love great cricketers, i.e. Sir Garfield Sobers. So hopefully, Mr. Springer can bring back that sense of pride to Barbados cricket. Because as he said, playing cricket for Barbados is a lot of pressure because Bajans want you to do well, and even if you're doing well, they always think you can do better. And that is kind of true. We have very high standards when it comes to cricket. So, congratulations on your new appointment, Mr. Springer, and hopefully you can have our squads ready to compete with the best of the best in the Caribbean, and hopefully we can come away with at least one of the trophies from this year's top tournaments. Now, on to our next story. Legendary cricketer Sir Wesley Hall expressed that he believes that the development of star athletes in the island of Barbados needs to now be an issue of national interest and not only fall on the shoulders of the government and the private sector. Hall had this to say: "Never in the history of Barbados have we had so many talented youngsters who at young ages are competing with the best in the world. But we need to support them financially to move them on to the next level." Hall is urging local Bajans to lend financial support to these young athletes before they reach their top accolades so they actually can reach these top accolades. And he says that we as a nation will all reap the benefits of them winning. The athletes will benefit from getting better training, which will prepare them to compete at the highest level. We as citizens will get the benefit from watching our fellow countrymen compete at the highest level and possibly winning at the highest level. We all saw what that was like for Jamaica and how it has been for Jamaica the past two Olympics, when they know they are basically going to dominate the sprinting events. It's great. The island comes alive. More businesses are successful because of it. And we want to do the same thing for our athletes because we see we have a lot of talent and we just need to invest into it. Mr. Hall was actually speaking at the National Sports Annual Awards ceremony at Frank Collymore Hall in Barbados. Thank you for the wise words, Mr. Hall, and hopefully we fellow Bajans will listen to your words of advice. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Caribbean Sports Weekly.
Kitchen, I like all them banana. So I called Kitchi on the phone one day. This is what the old man said. Do it, do it, do it. Oh, come, buddy. Get she where she want. Get she where she want. Get she where she want. Man.
Welcome back to Caribbean Sports Weekly. Now, on to the roundup of the final Sunday of the NFL season. The Baltimore Ravens are champions of Super Bowl 47 after they defeated the San Francisco 49ers 35-32. Some might have called this the Harbaugh Bowl, as both head coaches are brothers. John Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens and Jim Harbaugh for the San Francisco 49ers. It's actually the first time in NFL history that two brothers have coached against each other as head coaches in the sports championship game. Well, it was a blowout in the first half as the Ravens were up 21-6 against the 49ers. Then in the second half, it was a shootout. The 49ers brought it in to within a 2-point game and even had a chance to take the lead in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, but could not punch it into the end zone and turned it over on downs at the 5-yard line. Now, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers was clearly livid on the sideline as he thought wide receiver Michael Crabtree was held and there should have been a pass interference call, but there was none. And as history would say, the fat lady is singing, and the Ravens are Super Bowl champions. Ray Lewis has his storybook ending. As he said at the start of the playoffs, he will be retiring. So Ray Lewis gets to retire with a ring. Future Hall of Famer safety Ed Reed finally gets his Super Bowl ring after 10 long seasons in the NFL. And the Baltimore Ravens also announced today that there will be a statue of Ray Lewis outside M&T Stadium next year, which is the stadium of the Ravens. Congratulations to the Ravens, and congratulations to Mr. Ray Lewis for 17 illustrious years in the NFL. You never will be forgotten. Sorry, you never will be forgotten by those that watch you play and those that played against you. And in my opinion, they should change the name of the Baltimore Ravens to the Baltimore Ravens. Congratulations. Now, on to two scores from two soccer friendlies that were played today. Trinidad and Tobago lost 2-0 to Peru, and Bolivia defeated Haiti 2-1. That's it for Caribbean Sports Weekly. Have a great week and see you next time. But before we leave, I would like to say and wish a happy belated birthday to the legend, Mr. Robert Nesta Marley, or more commonly known as Bob Marley. The reason why I would say it on a sports show is that, as many of you might know, or some of you are about to know, Bob Marley was a huge sports fan. He loved West Indies cricket and he loved football. He could see him always playing football. There are many pictures of him with a football at his feet or between his feet or in his hands. Mr. Marley loved football, and it kind of cost him his life because his toe injury was originally injured when someone stepped on his toe in a game of football. So, happy birthday, Bob. You'll always be in our soul. We'll always love your music. Rest in peace. This is Jimi Payne signing off. See you next week. Caribbean Sports Weekly.